Hello everyone and welcome to today's video where we are setting up my bullet journal for the month of May. I do realize that if you're watching this on time that I'm posting, this is coming out a little bit late in the game, but I figured, you know what, I had some delays posting this, but the bullet journal is set up and the theme isn't very month specific, so whenever I post this, maybe this will be helpful for people to be inspired for other months. Maybe this will be helpful for you to be inspired for the month of June or July or whenever it is you're watching this. I have some videos that suddenly people are watching them several months later, so I thought this will still be useful to people, so let's post it regardless. So yeah, hopefully this will still inspire you in some way. Like I said, the theme isn't very month specific. I don't usually make them very month specific. I actually kind of did it for April, but that was honestly an exception, not the rule. So yeah, I hope this is still inspiring and helpful for you in some way. I went for this letter theme, which I'm very honest with you, I have no idea where this came up from. I just randomly found myself doodling little letters here and there, and when I was trying to come up with a theme for May, I have this bad habit of trying to come up with very intricate themes or things that no one has seen before. They're very unique, and I just figured this is something that's pretty much simple, but I have kind of recently found my drawing style, which is insane to me because I've struggled with it for a long time. But what if I just take really simple concepts and I just draw them in that style? What if we just do that? And that way I take all of this weird pressure to come up with really original things off of myself, and I just focus on making it beautiful and in my style. So that's what I'm doing here, and I have to admit I really love how it turned out, and I feel like it's a better way of approaching things to go like this and try to do simple things, and that way it's also easier for you guys in case you want to recreate things, or if you're looking for inspiration. I figured, you know what, it'll probably be more inspiring for people and more helpful if it's something that is actually doable than if it's something that is way too intricate and insane. So yeah, I hope this is a bit healthier for me as well as for you. But yeah, this theme kind of came out of nowhere. I was just randomly doodling letters, and I figured, well, I'm already doodling them everywhere. I might as well just put this to use and put them on my bullet journal. And it came out super cute. You guys haven't seen the coloring yet, but it turned out really nice and pretty. I don't know, my style, it usually always has this sort of whimsical feel to it. If the drawing doesn't have a whimsical feel to it, I feel like it's not me. But whereas before I would draw things that are already whimsical in of themselves, so like cottagecore sort of inspired things like little mushrooms and little daisies, or like actually like potion bottles or things like that, things that already have that whimsical feel in themselves. I've been a bit more drawn towards wanting to put that whimsical twist with my style and not necessarily with the theme that I'm drawing. Does that make sense? So I added the little stars to kind of give that feel. I feel like the stars really make a bit of a difference in the sketch, and also kind of the way that I go about my line work. I'm not like educated as far as art goes. I wanted to study art when I was younger, but I ended up not going with that route because of, well, career-wise, it kind of limited me to go with that study route, I guess. But I've been trying to exercise more as far as drawing goes. I've been trying to sketch more frequently, even if it's not bullet journal related, and to explore things like use of color, use of shadows, highlights, and little elements, I guess. And I've been trying to practice as far as those go, and to expand my knowledge, my skills, and I've been very pleased with the outcome. It's been very nice to kind of just have a creative moment almost every day and to explore something different, and then little by little you start to see the evolution and the change, which is very, very lovely. So yeah, I'm rambling a lot about my artistic process lately, but I hope that maybe that is helpful for some of you. Maybe you guys feel like, oh well, I suck at drawing. No one really sucks at anything. Talent is very overrated. Most of being good at something is just work and practicing, and practice does really make perfect. And if you would see some of my bullet journal spreads from a few years ago, you would not know that they were from the same person. So yeah, if you're struggling with your creative process, with your drawing skills, with your creativity, whatever it is, hang in there and just practice. And sometimes the greatest ideas aren't to do something over the top. Sometimes it's just to do something very simple but make it very you, I guess. But yeah, as far as spreads go, I have basically kept up with the same exact layout as the previous month. It was very useful for me, actually. I very much enjoyed these spreads, so I decided to actually do them again. I think it's the first time that I'm really just copying the same layout from one month to another. I usually tweak them ever so slightly, or I completely redo the spreads that I do. And with this one, I was like, you know what, I actually think that I've come up with some really great spreads for the last month. Let's not overwork myself trying to come up with really different things. Let's not try to reinvent the wheel here. And I went with, you know what, if it's not broken, let's not fix it. It worked beautifully. Let's keep it up for another month. And if by the end of this month I figure out that it actually isn't working as well anymore, or if it needs to be tweaked, then I will fix that as I go along. But for now, this kind of layout really works. So as you saw, I had the cover page with the month calendar next to it, and here I have an info dump on the left, which is basically for writing down random things that I know I'll likely have things of those categories to write down. And I know that I usually have things that I want to write down on my bullet journal or planner, but I don't really have the space to do it for a specific day or a week, and it doesn't really just fit in a day or a week. As far as the content, it's something usually that overarches the month or several days or several weeks. So it's nice to have one place where it's basically for the entire month, and I can write that down. And then on the right there, I have my productivity spread, and I basically just write down my priorities as far as productivity goes, and I can journal a little bit about productivity things, whether that is saying that I'm proud of myself for things that I have achieved, or for how committed I was, or just writing down things to put it into perspective for my future self. Like if I had any health issues that prevented me from being very productive, I'll write this down. If I found out randomly that I actually wanted to redo all of my goals, and so my productivity for that month doesn't look like what I wanted it to look like, I'll write that down. I feel like it's very nice to have that space in our bullet journals, so we can be easier on ourselves and allow the room for changes to happen in our lives. I feel like that's a really good approach to things. Next, we are going on for our sleep and mood tracker. I usually put them in the same page because I've said this in previous layouts. Usually sleep and mood go hand in hand, and so it's very nice to have the sleep and the mood tracker right next to each other. That way I can see a direct correlation between my sleep schedule and my mood, because they usually go hand in hand and they affect one another. So that's why I do this. If I haven't mentioned this on this video already, I use a B5 notebook. If you don't know, B5 notebooks are a little bit bigger than an A5 notebook, so if you're looking at my spreads and wondering how does she fit all of that into one page, that's because these pages are a little bit bigger than an A5 notebook. I really love the B5 notebooks. I randomly bought one for, I don't think it was last year, I think it was the year before that. Was it? No, it was last year. Sorry, it was the first half of last year, I believe. I got one. Where am I? think it was the first half of last year. I think I'm not lying to you. I randomly got one just to try it. I saw some YouTuber using a B5 notebook. I was like, why do you need something so big? But I was intrigued and I decided to try it, and I'm not going back. I am not going back to an A5 notebook for bullet journaling. I have A5 notebooks to do like daily to-do lists or to journal a little bit, but for my bullet journal, the B5 just allows me a lot more space to play with. I have plenty of space to do my spreads and still doodle and still have enough blank space. If the pages don't have some kind of blank space, my brain starts to freak out. It feels cramped and it feels sloppy and messy and That's the best way I have to describe it. It's just it doesn't feel like what it should be doing. It should be productive. It should be a clean, organized space for me to dump my brain into in my life, and it shouldn't be cramped. And so, yeah, I need that. Also, if you want to be very economical with your spreads, and if you want to find a way of putting all of your year into one notebook, the B5 notebook really does allow for that to happen a lot more easily. I feel like that English wasn't very right. You know what I mean. It allows you for more space to play with, especially if you're like me and you don't do massive spreads like my habit tracker. I love the whole concept that we had very early on in like the bullet journal community of making really cute and theme related mood trackers or habit trackers, where I don't know if the theme is lavender, you have like a lavender flower with the numbers for each month, for each day, and you color them in. That's very cute. It's not very practical and it's a whole lot of work, and it will take up an entire page. My mood tracker, you can see it's like a third of my page. I have 6 habits to track this month. I don't need something so huge, and if I wasn't tracking like my exercise here or my sleep, I could easily put my mood tracker along with my habit tracker, and that's one page. So if you're very economical with your space for your trackers like me, I like to minimalize the spreads, not the doodles. Does that make sense? I like to minimalize the actual usable spaces and then go a little bit crazy with the doodles. I feel like that balance makes it really functional and pretty for me. I need both things when I do my bullet journal. If my bullet journal isn't pretty, I don't want to reach for it, but if it's not practical, I won't use it at all, regardless of how pretty that is. So that is the balance that I found for myself. And if you've been struggling with your bullet journal, maybe that is something that you need to work on as well, just finding the balance of practicality and aesthetics that you need for yourself. Maybe you need lower practicality and higher aesthetics. Maybe you need lower aesthetics and higher practicality. Mine, it's a bit more half and half. I need both things. So yeah, food for thought as far as bullet journaling process goes. But yeah, so I'm actually lying to you guys a little bit. I said that I didn't tweak the theme. I tweaked it ever so slightly for the sleep and mood trackers, now that I'm thinking about it. For last month, I wrote down all of the numbers for the hours in the sleep tracker, and since that was incredibly tedious and a long process to do, I switched that up and I added the hours at the bottom with vertical lines separating them so I can see where it is. That was the one change that I did, and I regret using that color on there because it's way too dark, and I only realized that after I used it. You live and you learn. Things happen. That's what we're going with. Moving on to my weekly. I have technically 5 weeklies because there are 5 weeks in May. I will only set up these 2 that you're seeing right now on camera, but I will show you all 5 just to shorten the sort of production process of the video. I decided to do the other 3 off camera because I am a lot faster doing things off camera, because I can just randomly do them at whatever hour I want to do them in, and I don't have to be in weird positions. You saw my hair a little bit there. I have to be in a weird position while I'm filming due to my setup, and so it does make it last a little bit longer, the process of carrying out my bullet journal. So that is why you will only see 2 in the process, but then 5 in total, and also because I felt like it would be very tedious for you guys to watch the same spreads 5 times, but just with different doodles. You can see the doodles at the end. You can pause the screen if you want to take a better look at them, and you guys pretty much get the gist after the entire setup of how I'm doing the doodles. So I figured, let's save you guys some time, let's save myself some time. You get the process of making the bullet journal, and you still see the final finished result. I hope that is a healthy compromise for both of us. At least I feel like it is on my part. You will guys will let me know. Please do let me know in the comments if you would prefer to see the whole thing, or if the system helps, or if you enjoy it. Let me know. Carrying on here with the letters, I did do some differences. Like, some have just letters, some have postcards. There was the one from the previous page where it was a stack of letters. Yeah, I tried to make it consistent and not add too many elements to the theme, while still making varied differences to the point where it's not monotonous. I feel like I'm inventing words. I'm sorry, English isn't my first language. Sometimes my brain, I like to think that there is a translating app in my brain, and sometimes it glitches. So there you go. But yeah, basically the thing is, you have a theme that is consistent enough as far as color palette, as far as elements, so that it isn't too much and it isn't very scattered, but also you still should have some variations so that it's not boring as well. Be that with some different shades of the same color. As you have probably noticed, I'm using several different shades of beige for the letters and the postcards and the envelopes, but they are very cohesive. That's the point I'm trying to make. I feel like I rambled a lot to say something very simple, but I hope that you guys understand what I'm coming up with here. Yeah. We are reaching the conclusion of this bullet journal setup, which I'm very happy with this. It looks so pretty, and it's very fulfilling to finally find a style that feels like my own. I always kind of felt like I was mimicking other people, or I was outright copying for my personal use, and which is fine if you're still trying to find yourself. It's perfectly fine to mimic other people. That's how you figure out what you like. On to the final flip through. As I was saying, I feel like it's perfectly okay if you're trying to find your style to mimic other people in an initial phase, because you're mimicking the things that you like, and so the things that you're mimicking will tell you a lot about the things that you like in your own style and how you can incorporate those. Then starts the real work of you practicing and trying to decipher what are the elements that are attracting you in that person's style, and how you can bring that into your own style while still being unique in some way and true to yourself. Here are the weeklies that you didn't see in the video. Basically same exact layout, just changed a little bit on the elements. And here's the last one. And yeah guys, that is it for this month's setup. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much if you listened to my rambles and got it this far. Love you. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.